The snowstorm raged outside, thick flakes swirling violently, blurring the world beyond the windows of the small ranch house. The ranch had been quiet for years, ever since his wife's untimely death. Life had become a routine of hard work and loneliness. His son, Noah, had grown into a strong, kind-hearted boy, but Caleb knew the weight of raising him alone had made him distant. Caleb couldn't help but wonder if he was doing the right thing, if life had more to offer than these frozen plains and unspoken silence. That evening, Caleb was preparing a simple dinner when a faint knock came at the door. At first, he thought it might be the wind or the storm playing tricks on his ears, but then it came again softer, hesitant. Curiosity and concern tugged at him, pushing him to answer. When he opened the door, the sight of a young woman standing there, shaking from the cold, took him by surprise. She was drenched, her thin coat completely soaked, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear and exhaustion. She clutched a small bundle tightly in her arms, a baby. Without thinking, Caleb stepped back. "Come in," he said quickly, his voice low but firm. The woman stumbled inside, and Caleb helped her remove her dripping coat, leading her to the fireplace. She wrapped the baby in her arms tightly, her eyes darting around the room as if she was expecting someone to burst through the door at any moment. Caleb was still stunned by her sudden appearance. She looked young, no older than 20. Her face was gaunt, her hands trembling from the cold. But it was her eyes, haunted and desperate, that caught Caleb's attention. "Where did you come from?" Caleb asked, his concern growing. "I didn't know where else to go," she said, her voice shaky. "Please, I just need somewhere safe for me and my baby, just for tonight." The urgency in her voice was palpable. Caleb nodded, though questions swirled in his mind. Who was she? Why was she out in the middle of a snowstorm, alone and with a child? He helped her settle by the fire, making sure she was warm. The baby slept quietly in her arms, and after a while, the woman finally relaxed enough to speak. "This is Noah." She nodded to the baby, who was wrapped snugly in her arms. "We've been running for days. I just... I couldn't stay there anymore. He found me. I couldn't stay." Her voice trembled with emotion. Caleb sat down across from her, his concern deepening. "You're safe here," he said, trying to comfort her. "But what happened? Who's after you?" "I can't talk about it," she whispered, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "Not yet, please. I just need time." Caleb didn't press. He could see that the woman had been through something harrowing, but he also understood the need for trust to be built slowly. He made dinner for them both, nothing fancy, just stew, but enough to offer warmth. After dinner, she insisted on leaving. "Thank you, but I can't stay. I have to go. He'll find me if I don't." Caleb shook his head. "You're not going anywhere in this storm. Not tonight. Not with your baby." She hesitated, but eventually agreed. Caleb led her to the spare room, where she could rest, still clutching the baby. Something wasn't right. Something about her fear was too real. As Caleb lay in bed that night, he heard the sound of a car engine in the distance. The faint hum grew louder, and then it stopped. He froze. There was something unsettling about the timing too close to the house. Someone was out there, and Caleb wasn't sure if it was the storm playing tricks on his mind, or something much more dangerous. At dawn, Caleb decided to investigate. He grabbed his rifle, strapped it to his back, and went outside to check the tracks in the snow. The storm had not abated, and the ground was covered with a fresh layer of snow. But Caleb noticed tire tracks leading up to his ranch tracks that didn't belong to him. They weren't from any vehicle he recognized. They were newer, faster. He followed them carefully, his heart racing as he made his way toward the ridge. And there, at the top, was a black SUV with tinted windows. Caleb's breath caught in his throat. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was no coincidence. He hurried back to the house, his mind racing with the possibilities. Emma wasn't just a random stranger. Someone was looking for her. Back inside, Caleb found Emma pacing by the window. Her eyes were wild with panic, and she clutched Noah tightly to her chest. "They've found us, haven't they?" she asked, her voice cracking. Caleb didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward the door, his hand reaching for the rifle. "We need to get out of here," he said. "Now." Emma shook her head. "I can't. They'll catch me. They'll take him from me. I can't risk it." Caleb could see the fear in her eyes, but he knew they had to move. He didn't know who was chasing her, but the presence of that SUV on his property meant trouble was coming in fast. Without another word, Caleb made his decision. He would risk it all to help this woman, to protect her and her baby. He had a responsibility to do what was right, even if it meant putting his own safety at risk. They fled to the barn, with Noah bundled up tightly in Emma's arms. Caleb grabbed a few supplies, a bag of food, and blankets to keep them warm. He knew they couldn't stay here much longer. The storm was a perfect cover, but it was also a dangerous obstacle. As they crossed the snow-covered field, Caleb could hear the sound of an engine getting closer, the hum of the SUV approaching. "Go, go," he urged Emma. But then, a voice rang out from behind them. "Stop right there." Caleb's heart sank. There, standing in the distance, was a tall man dressed in a dark coat, holding a gun. It was him. The man Emma had been running from. The storm's howl drowned out the man's voice, but the danger was unmistakable. "Emma, no matter what happens, you have to keep running," Caleb shouted, turning to face her. "I'll hold him off." She hesitated, looking back at Caleb, but there was no time for her to argue. She turned and ran, carrying Noah tightly in her arms. Caleb took one last look at the man and ran toward him, his rifle raised. He wasn't about to let this stranger take everything from him. Emma had entrusted him with her life and her child's safety, and Caleb wouldn't fail her. The storm was their only ally now, and it was up to Caleb to use it to their advantage.